One of the lessons that I'd like to start with is choosing your hard.
Okay.
When it comes to choosing your hard, I am the believer that life is going to be hard. Life is hard. But the only thing that I have control over is my ability to react to the stimuli that I'm given and to choose my hard. There was a period of time where I weighed 120 pounds more than I weigh right now. And it was hard. It was hard.
Extra full-figured fella.
Yeah, triple full-figured fella. And
EFFF.
yeah. And it was hard for me to go to the gym. But now that I go to the gym and I've lost that 120 pounds, I realize how hard it was to be that overweight. Yeah. It was hard to pick that up and put that down. It was hard to get out of bed. It was hard to feel confident and attractive. It was hard to feel successful. And I was very successful at the time. I was doing some great business. And that was hard. Now people would say, well, I don't like going to the gym because it's hard. Well, I'm choosing my hard. And so I say this to you because there's many examples in our lives where we could choose this or that. I could choose, for example, marriage is a difficult thing. Marriage is hard. It's hard to be married, but it's hard to be single right now. It's very difficult. And there's, I know 50% of the people sitting at this table at the mics understand what I'm saying. It's not easy to be a single person, but it's not easy to be married. And so you've got to choose the hard that you're after. If that's true, then intentionality becomes a very big player. And I want to throw that on the table. Like, what is something that you've chosen your hard? Why and why? Why have you chosen that? Because we all have to make that choice. As men, if you're not choosing, then you're choosing. If you're not choosing, then that's a hard. I don't want to decide. I don't want to make that decision. Well, you've decided, and that's a hard. Not deciding is hard.
Interesting.
And so the way that I look at it is I would rather battle the battle that I want. I'm going to battle the battle that I choose. And I choose to be healthy, which is hard. It's hard. I know I need to stop eating at a certain period of time. I know I need to keep my diet intact. I know that I need to exercise. I know that I need to go for a walk. I know that I need to turn the TV off. That's hard sometimes, especially in the winter. Early in the morning, I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock to go to the gym, and it's snowing outside. Man, I do not want to roll out and drive to the gym.
Right.
And that's hard. But I look at my body now, I'm 52 years old and I'm in terrific shape. I'm probably in the best shape I've been in since high school. And I'm grateful that I chose that hard.
That's really interesting. I deploy a different verbiage on this, but it's the exact same thing. My thing is like life's the game that you choose to play. Okay, and my background and everything, I choose to frame everything as a game. And then I play it. So part of the game that I choose on this is, I call it the game of or, right? So something comes up, the bills are due today, okay? Whatever it is, doesn't matter. But, or, I have all the money that I need to take care of my responsibilities. Like that, or, how are you framing the game that you're about to play? It's really interesting. But you're always framing on that it's going to be hard.
Like a mindset deal.
Yeah. Which choice am I going to make today? And then when I choose my hard, then I become unreasonable about it. And I feel like that's the key to my success. I'm unreasonable about the hard that I choose. If I choose that I'm going to make these phone calls, well then, damn it, I'm going to make these phone calls. Yeah. I'm going to choose to do it. I made the choice. It's no longer life happening to me. It's life happening for me. That kind of a mentality.
Yeah, I think the choice empowers you to have a perspective that you're in charge, right? Like I feel like an
illusion, almost.
Sure, exactly. Yeah. But it is what it is, right? Like if you can still if a placebo pill works, it's still a solution to some extent. So if you're convincing yourself, it still works.
And I think changing the verbiage where you're saying, I have enough money to pay all my bills. That's a big shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either the first and like, oh God, here we go.
I'm about to lose all my money for the month.
or
shit, I'm cool.
I'm good. I got it. We made it again.
Yeah.
Another month down. We'll go for the next one,
The one thing I really do like about choosing my hard is that I'm then become incredibly accountable for the results of my life. I am no longer sitting around thinking, poor me. All the things that I have in my life that I'm sitting here tonight is because of choices that I've made, choosing the right hard. Coming down here and being away from my family, it's hard. It's a different kind of hard, but I'm grateful to do it because I can see that there's a reward here that is going to be great one day.
I agree.
And so when I choose my hard, it's kind of on an ROI basis,
Yeah.
like my return on my investment. Which hard is going to be better for me?
Do you ever explore hards? Do you ever like not quite know what hard you want, and so you have to kind of dabble in each? For example, in my own life, the way that I would relate this is like right now, I'm new-ish to the professional world. I got out of college, and I went from an internship that was helping me complete college straight into working for that state agency that I was interning with. For me, I've kind of been feeling like I need to get some more experience in the private sector and understand whether or not I want the hard of the public sector or the hard of the private sector. Because the hard of the public sector is from my perspective so far, is being underpaid for providing a necessary service and feeling undervalued for providing value to your community that other companies, other private sector people don't think about nearly as much. And so, but I don't know if I don't know if the private sector hard is better or worse for me. And so it's kind of hard. How do you make those decisions, I guess, if you're uneducated on what that hard's going to feel like? Do you dabble?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that your clarity in hard gets better the older you become.
Sure.
As I look back, I have a history now of like, I know how my brain works, and I know that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm unemployable. I know that about me. And because I'm unemployable, I'm a private sector guy that has to work for himself, because I've tried those hards. I've tried them out, and I would have never known that if I wouldn't have done I worked for the government and I did those things. And because of those things, I'm much better where I'm at today. And so I don't know if the hard is to be weighed that way. The hard is more of something like, today you get to choose to have a good attitude, or you get to choose to have a bad attitude. Mm-hmm. They can both be kind of difficult.
Right.
When you wake up on Monday morning, you don't feel like jumping out of bed and high-fiving people all the way to work. However, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, if
you have a job.
If you choose to high five everybody on the way to work, your day is going to be way better.
Way better. And so that hard is a choice that then there's the good ROI.
There's
right?
an ROI.
There's
to
a
it.
good return on investment.
Right. So maybe the way that I weigh that is like almost a fulfillment level, more than like I don't know what I would have been comparing it to monetary value or anything like that, but it's more like, how do I feel about it? Do I feel fulfilled with it? Do I feel like it was like it has a positive impact? And if it is, that's a hard I should be choosing.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect.
That's really, it is funny. You mentioned changing verbiage, right? Because we're saying the exact same thing. In my mind, I play this game every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, but my verbiage, because right now you're saying this and I'm pushing back on it because what's hard, right? Well, we're going to have to do something today. That's why that's why in my mind, we're talking about the exact same thing, but mine is, what game am I going to play?
What game are you willing to play?
Right.
Yeah.
But then I can frame it because you innately have an understanding of games, whether it's a board game, a sport, or whatever like that, and you understand that there's rule structures and whatnot. More importantly, there's an objective to what you're trying to accomplish. So what's a win? If we're going to play a game, obviously any game you play, the objective is to win, right?
Right.
So if you get to pick your game, you're trying to pick the outcome, the win that you want to have for that.
I like that. I like framing it that way. I think choosing your hard is the reason that it works for me is because I have a tendency to try to do things as efficiently and easily as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Path of least resistance.
Right. And so oftentimes the path of least resistance is a choice of hard. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter today if I make that phone call. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter if I get up and go to the gym today. I'm just going to.
Yeah.
That path of least resistance is a choice of hard. I'm working towards heart disease. I'm working towards being broke. And so that's the way that I look at it, is like there's not, the easy is, I guess, the illusion.
I guess maybe the way that I would look at that is, I've been told before and read before in books that if you develop that bad habits are oftentimes reinforced by good results. So you develop a bad habit because it's a shortcut to the result that you're looking for,
right,
which may work for some period of time, but there's detrimental results from that on the back end, right? Yeah, exactly. And so maybe I look at it in that way too. If you're choosing the right hard, you're not developing those bad habits. It's kind of, you're choosing the more difficult way, but the long-term impact is positive.
Very good. Yeah.
It's interesting to think about those little choices every single day that can add up to being broke or having heart disease.
Yeah.
Just one little choice. I'm going to make this one phone call.
That's all.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Just one more call.
Procrastination is the killer.
Yeah. There's a book called The Atomic Habits.
Oh, such a good book.
And man, it is one that I really love. And it talks about these compounding, or The Compound Effect is another book that's amazing along these lines. Talks about the compounding results of these tiny little decisions that we make every day, and how we can stack these habits every day to become more effective, to become a little bit sharper every day. And the truth is if you're not doing that, if you're not growing and becoming sharper, you're dying. Yes. We are never static as these organisms are. The minute I'm sitting down relaxing is the minute my body is starting to go that direction. Yep. There's momentum in each decision.
Body at rest stays at rest.
Right.
I was just listening to a PBD podcast, and he was talking the same principle, different verbiage, but he's talking about sequencing. Like the art of winning is sequencing. It's not just one event. It's a sequence of choices and events that lead to the one event that you actually qualify as the quote-unquote win.
Oh, that's such an interesting perspective. I was just thinking about that today. The Universe Has Your Back book that I'm actually listening to it on Audible. Shout out. If you guys don't have Audible, get
amazing book.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. But in The Universe Has Your Back, they were talking about the story that you tell yourself, and like what is the most. It was a practice exercise in trying to identify what is the most detrimental story that you tell yourself. And so for me, one of the things that I was thinking about is that I have this perception that my timing's always off on things. Like, I just missed that. Or like that opportunity happened 4 years before I was old enough to grab it, or something like that. Or literally as much as my elementary school got AC the year after I left. It's like, what the hell, man? I could have had AC and I was just a year
Day late,
too late.
a dollar short.
Exactly.
Always.
But I started thinking about it. It's like, man, but a lot of these kind of missed quote-unquote opportunities were really just pointing me in a direction towards a different opportunity that I then grasped, and that got me to where I am. So in a way, it's like it was sequencing the whole time, and I was just not privy to it.
Yeah, I like that. I am a big believer there are no accidents.
Yeah.
And you're in the right place at the right time. And if you would have been there 4 years earlier, could you have even received it or been able to like digest the opportunity? You know what I'm saying? Like,
or even notice the opportunity.
See the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so looking backwards is always poison, in my opinion. It's always poison. And so and my belief, my mantra is I'm in the right place at the right time.
Right.
Always here and now, baby. And that's all that matters.
Right.